It was very interesting to hear his perspective on AI's impact on the beauty and self-care industry as a whole. There definitely is scary factors of like could eliminate some specific jobs, but he's like, from everything that we've seen in the history of like the Industrial Revolution, when we create something that can handle more simple or like kind of monotonous tasks that maybe don't require human touch, that frees up human time to focus on complex emotional tasks.
From smart marketing tools that know exactly when to reach your clients, to AI-generated captions, custom consultations, and even robot facials, it seems like there's a new headline every week. But what's the hype and what's actually helpful? In today's roundtable, we're digging into how artificial intelligence is showing up in self-care businesses, what it means for providers and clients alike, and where we think it's headed next. Is AI the assistant we've all been waiting for, or just another shiny object? We work in the beauty industry, so clunky software is just not the vibe. Boulevard is sleek, made for beauty pros, and gets you compliments, not complaints, from clients. Podcast listeners get 10% off plus free guided setup. So head over to join blvd.com/podcast to claim the special offer. I'm really looking forward to this conversation because I feel like AI is everywhere and there's some confusion around it. We're all still learning. I think that's the cool thing. We're all learning together. It's a very new thing. AI is when a computer system is able to perform tasks that normally require human intelligence, like writing, seeing, learning, or making decisions. And then we have automation, which is when you tell a system exactly what to do step by step. AI is when the system learns patterns and adapts on its own. So I think that's such an interesting difference. And most people will be like asking for AI, but in reality, they're looking for automation.
Yeah, I think something really interesting. We were able to attend the Beauty Changes Lives Roundtable, and the key speaker was Bence, who is the man behind the internet. And he works with Google at Gemini now, so he's very heavily involved. It was very interesting to hear his perspective on AI's impact on the beauty and self-care industry as a whole. There wasn't concern in his mind. He was like, there definitely is scary factors of like, it could eliminate some specific jobs, but he's like, from everything that we've seen in the history of like the Industrial Revolution, when we create something that can handle more simple or like kind of monotonous tasks that maybe don't require human touch, that frees up human time to focus on complex emotional tasks. So allowing our service providers to spend more time in consults or have more sophisticated services. So he really put a like big importance on really leaving the humans to do the human element while automating or using AI to leverage technology to free up everything else that doesn't need that human emotional element. So, but things like the reminders, the check-in process, the collecting of information from clients, or even the marketing processes, like those things we can really elevate and streamline for our businesses so they can focus on those human elements. It was definitely very interesting to hear that perspective.
There are some awesome tools that are popping up in beauty that I do think are fun and cool. So I linked to a bunch like in our notes for everyone to take a look at, and we can link some of them in our show notes as well so you could take a look. But for example, on the skin analysis side, when folks are picking out products even, there's tools that can analyze face shapes and what you need and color matches. Sephora and Ulta are you using these? So we'd love to hear what you all think about those tools.
Yeah, there's actually, I think me and you tested it at a conference. There's a company, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but there is a AI company that is using the ability to recommend med spa treatments to customers and kind of perform like a CRM capability. So you do a face scan, you put in kind of what your concerns are, main areas you want to focus on, and it actually generates like what your potential results would look like based on getting those treatments. and communicates that to the providers that are using that tool. So you can say, okay, I want to enhance my lips, or I want to try wrinkle relaxer, or whatever it may be. And it gives you that AI generated image, or actually like you can move around and see what it looks like. And
Like a final result almost, like what you could look like. Wow, that's crazy.
And it really is like a lead gen tool for med spas, and helps customers educate themselves on what they might be interested in, and then ask about that in consultations when they come in. Obviously, they still need that human provider to be like, hey, this is what's going to look best. Like, let's do this sort of treatment plan. But I thought that was really interesting because before, really, there wasn't a tool to show like, okay, what would my results look like with filler or Botox or whatever it may be, or what do you think based on your, system do I need?
Yeah. I feel like we've seen it in the plastic surgery world with the before and like the what it could potentially look like, but we haven't seen it in the more med spa,
Not in the self-care
Definitely.
businesses.
Right.
More in medical for sure. Yeah, like I know in hair, there's like lots of the filters where you could do like, oh, here's me as a redhead, here's me as a brunette, and things like that, which honestly just felt like more funsies.
Yeah.
Than, like, actually using it as like a tool, as lead gen, as you mentioned, or like for after results. But yeah, what do you think, Daniel?
Well, I had a question about that. Do you feel like there's an opportunity to mislead potential clients though when using something like that? Like it's probably not going to show you something that
Like identical.
looks bad, like.
Well, so that's actually the really like kind of, there's definitely work that needs to be done on it. I wouldn't say it's like a full 100 proof, like, hey, if it says you need this, get this done. Because when I did it, I already have pretty full lips. Like it wouldn't be something I would recommend if I was a provider to myself. And that was something that it prompted me for.
Oh,
and the results looked whack on it. I was like, that I would never recommend.
Interesting.
But because I like clicked, fuller lips, less wrinkles, whatever, just testing it out, it still showed me what I would look like with fuller lips, still sent that information to the business side of things of like, this is what they clicked, here's what their results looked like. So I think it can't be like, it can't replace that tool of like a consultation. I think it's still kind of more just a fun piece of technology you can utilize to be like, hey, here's some ideas or some inspo. And it still leaves the door open for the provider to be like, no, this is what we need to do.
Yeah, I think that's where we are in this moment, is that it's like a small tool that can make things easier, but it should not be like the tool,
The final.
the only tool you're using. Yeah.
It's just it's like our little buddy that's going to help us.
Yeah, our assistant.
Yeah, it's our assistant. Yeah.
Yeah, no robot filler lips yet.
Right. It's like, how big do you want to go? We can show all of them.
Yeah. Well, and you bring up like such great points like about the consultation too. Like I think one thing we all know as people working in the industry, but sometimes it's like lost upon our clientele, is in the consultation too, you get to gauge like the emotional aspect of your client, like what is motivating these changes or the desired result. Like, we've all experienced, it's like 2025. We've all worked in a business where someone's brought in a picture of like, let's say Kim Kardashian or a different celebrity and said like, I want to look like this, right? Which is a terrible way to start out. It's one thing to admire something someone has, but we could only stretch a face so far. I can't grow the hair for you, right? Like we could do extensions, but that's different. So I think, the consultation is where you could really understand what's driving your client to ask for these changes and to be able to manage expectations. Because just like they threw a filter on your big lips, like it made it all crazy, doesn't mean that now we're going to do that just because you saw that final image, right? So I wonder if that could be harmful for some folks.
100%. I mean, there's people putting in, their pictures into ChatGPT and being like, what plastic surgery do I need?
Yikes.
Like, what would you do to make my, eyes look better, my skin look better, whatever it may be. And it just can't be like, that can't be the consultation or treatment planning process, because it's not going to end up well.
Right.
I think there's just a balance of like, hey, we can enhance and improve. Like that's the industry we're in. We build off of the beauty that people already have. And like, we don't want to replace that with something artificial.
I think that says a lot because we are very much in an industry where you are hands-on with everything. Whether you're doing hair, you're giving a massage, you're doing injections, you have to be like, there's no way that I would hope that AI would replace, something like that. But when I think of that also, I'm thinking of like, have you seen the videos where they have put your hand in like a machine and it does your nails for
the
you?
robot manicure.
Yeah, that makes me nervous when I think of like the technology and where it could possibly go. So I don't know. It just is something that always is, top of mind when I'm thinking of like how AI is progressing and how fast it's going, but just making sure we keep the industry part of it like within the human touch and not necessarily starting to have robots do our hair,
He actually spoke on the art element, which I think is interesting. And I want to hear Daniel's perspective on this because I feel like anyone who writes, does any form of art can speak to it well. But he's like, there's something that it cannot replicate. And what we have in like an artistic eye or the ability to look at someone and say, this is the haircut that would be suiting for your face shape. And that was something he talked about with like, there's, businesses that are trying to create robots to perform lash extensions. He's like, it's very hard to be able to have a machine look at someone and say, this is what's going to be flattering. So I'm going to change what I'm doing for this person.
Yeah, like lash mapping is the art.
It is so it's like that human element almost can't be replicated with anything that we've found. So I feel like that's something that you would have a very interesting perspective on from a creative perspective.
I think I would hope that would be the case. I get a little worried, honestly, especially right now as we're seeing so many more advances with AI in the creative space that like culturally our standards continue to lower to the standard of AI generation, which be awful and probably decimate the industry.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. It is scary. It's a weird time to be experiencing all of this.
Yeah, AI slop is noticeable and it's scary, right? So I think there are a lot of folks out there that, maybe they aren't like a creative themselves and they see it as a tool to be like, oh, this is going to help me with descriptions or copy for my website. And it can do all of that, but there is a way to engage with it. Like you do have to do the work up front. Like it does not stop us from doing the work, the research that goes into making the content good, right? It could definitely help help you with your summaries, fix some things like along the way. But, the AI is only going to be as good as like the prompt that you're writing. And those prompts need to be huge. Like can you help me make this email better? Like isn't going to take us very far. I think it's going to make us all sound the same and get called out for using AI like right away. AI is everywhere right now, but at Boulevard, it's more than just a buzzword. We've been building smart tech into our platform for years to make life easier for salons, spas, barbershops, and med spas. From precision scheduling to smarter marketing to a built-in chatbot, Boulevard's AI helps businesses run smoothly, grow faster, and boost revenue every day. So when you're ready to put AI to work for your business, skip the trend chasers and go with one that has been building AI for self-care businesses from day one. Head to joinboulevard.com, then click AI on the Features tab to learn more. Let's talk about how AI is popping up in the client experience now. Like I'm asking this because there are certain things, whether it be AI or automation, right? I do think that there are some areas that like if they aren't automated, I feel like I'm not being looked after properly. So I'd love to pick your guys' brains. Like, what do you think? Like, where do you feel comfortable seeing AI or automation in your client experience?
For me personally, I think that AI, like for example, I'll use AI for a lot of different type of marketing ideas. And how you were mentioning earlier, like you have to have like the meat and potatoes of it already. And then AI kind of puts the finishing or the automation puts the finishing touch on it. No matter what, like you have to have an understanding of what you're trying to like address, what you're trying to say, and then have the AI do the rest for you when it's like checking for grammar. So specifically for that, I think if you want to make sure when you're reaching out to your clients that that information or whatever messaging you're trying to get out is clear and it has a pop to it and it catches the eye, that's when you would use AI to help with that. Other than that, you should like like I said, you should be putting in your own information to make sure it's like what you're trying to get across.
Makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the expert, right?
Exactly.
I agree. I think that, improving on what you've already created, like pre and post care instructions and information that we're sending out to clients, a lot of the time, like, it's very lengthy. It's very wordy. Sometimes people don't even like grammar check or spell check their pre and post care forms. They just like put it in or like, okay, sweet. I copy and pasted this from like a PDF or a Google Doc. I think that it is nice to be able to plug that into, AI and say, hey, make this more concise or clear or easy to understand so that the client has an easier time comprehending what we're sending to them, and it's shorter for them to read. It's clearer. So I like that kind of use of it to make it easier on the client, but they don't feel like they're talking to someone that's not human.
Yeah. I also want to point out that a lot of businesses, maybe if they're starting from like the beginning and they don't necessarily know like a pre and post care, instructions, they might not even know where to start with that.
Totally.
You can Google it, of course, and you can like, give me an example, but AI will build it out. And it's funny that you mentioned that some people don't check it. They'll just copy paste it and go. Honestly, it literally says at the bottom of ChatGPT, like, we're not always right. So make sure you're checking the work. So yes, always check. Yeah. Before you make something go live for sure.
Yeah. I think when I look at like automation tapping into the client experience, just as you said, like the forms, like I don't want to do forms when I get there, like, and I also don't, as like a business, I don't want to book extra time for people to just simply fill out forms, right? Like I want that to be very much a luxurious experience where people are in it. Sometimes some of the services we provide, especially like even in med spas, they're a little scary sometimes, right? Or they might be lengthy. Like if we're doing like a color correction, they might be there for a long time already. To then think they're going to be sitting and filling out a bunch of forms on color history and allergies and all that stuff, like that should be done at home. So I think those are areas where if like I'm greeted with the clipboard immediately, I'm like my heart is sinking. Or I'm like, you should have just sent this to me. Like
Clients
even if
are
you didn't
also
have a
more
way, I would have
likely
made it
to
work.
Not give accurate information because they rushed through it.
Right. That's a great point.
So it's like really someone should be sitting down, doing that at home, being able to give it the time it needs, especially if you're like putting in allergies, medications. Like there are so many things that if they're like rushed and they want to get back to their service, you don't want them just like flying through it and doing it in a rush.
That's true. That's very true. I'm one of those people that will just be like, I'll fill it out. I'll probably miss a couple things. And then
I don't even know how people can read my handwriting sometimes. Like I've made the mistake of including my last name in my personal email. So I'm like, all right, good luck. Good luck with that, y'all. But what about you, Daniel?
Yeah, I think where automation and AI can shine probably the most in the client journey is when they're not actually in the business. So like before and after, like anytime you can make that part of the experience as seamless and as frictionless as possible, like at least for me as a client, like that's what I'm looking for. Like if I can book in easy, if I can get a reminder, if somebody can tell me that I'm due for an appointment, like
That's a good one.
Like I will go back to you a million times. If it's so easy, that's key for me.
I also think, in my previous world when working at the spa, I'm not even going to mention the software we were using. It's just a really ancient software. But we did not have the automated like confirmations and reminders.
That's wild.
I know. So I had
Considering how many appointments
exactly.
y'all were
It would
doing
be like
every day.
200, 250 like on a busy Saturday. So I had a full team staffed specifically for making confirmation calls the day before the appointment. And it just was a waste of money and a waste of time. Like,
well,
they
and
could have
how
been
many
using their time
clients
for anything.
answered that phone call? Because
It was
I'm
mostly
not.
voicemails.
Yeah,
to be
nobody's
honest.
answering.
I'm not. Send me a text. I'll
Exactly.
respond yes.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like that's all just time down the drain.
Exactly. So automation for that is a must.
Yeah, I remember when we first started doing that when we were working together, we were like, oh, okay, now what are you going to do? Like, we had all this like
Free time
for folks
Yeah.
to like really engage with the clients, like bring back the human touch, like be able to like answer the calls that do come in and not feel that burden, that pressure in the background. We're like, okay, well, I have another 150 calls to go. Like,
Exactly.
can you speed up this appointment?
So there are a lot of very well-founded fears when it comes to AI. taking jobs. And I mean, this is more automation when it comes to the confirmation calls and reminders and stuff. But like, this is the type of thing that should be taken off of an employee's plate, because it's not like, you don't want to have to hire a whole team who's spending their entire day on the phone making these mind-numbing calls. Like,
Exactly.
that's a terrible experience. That's a terrible life
Yeah.
to have to do constantly.
Right.
So yeah, if you can take that off and now they can do way more engaging things, they can, you know, be talking to actual clients and not just leaving voicemails all day. I think that is such an easy win.
I feel like Daniel summarized it perfectly with the I want automation in everything that's not a direct interaction in person in the business. Like, let them focus on the client when they're there, and then automate what they can when the client's not there.
Yeah, and one thing I want to touch on automation is like automated marketing, like automated campaigns. So marketing was like, it's funny now because I work in marketing. But when I was still in salon, like that was, one of my roles. And I feel like I struggled with it so much just based on what I had to do in the day to day. Like, and again, bringing it back to the human side of things. Like I had so many actual humans that needed my attention, whether it be something good or bad, right? Because even the folks that are, pretty self-reliant and know how to handle things need a check-in. We got to keep the good people good still, right? So when you get to upwards of, I think by the time we were leaving, we had like 94 staff members, right? And we were a very small management team. That in its own is 40 hours a week, just like going through, making sure everyone's good. So having tools that can automate things like marketing and send messages like at the exact time that it needs to go out and being the right message, right? Whether it's like a win back campaign, haven't seen you in a while, happy birthday, it's time to book, we are having a slower day, come on in, like whatever it is, like that goes a long way because we don't typically have like corporate teams that could own the entire piece of marketing, right? We have a lot of small business owners that are really wearing all those hats and doing it all by themselves. So this is another place where automation makes it feel like a human touch. Like, hey, we noticed you haven't been in a while. Like, come on back, right? So if we could take these tasks off of even the managers, then they can actually be better managers. It goes a long way.
And from the client perspective, I think we have a data point somewhere that consumers are like 50% of consumers purchase based off of receiving either an SMS or email like campaign that's nurturing. So it's like, as clients and consumers, we're purchasing based off those reminders of like, oh yeah, I haven't been in, or I am low on product, or ooh, I do need to get in for that. And there's a 20% off promo, or it's a slow day and I can get in really quick. So I feel like it's also a benefit not only to the operators and the managers and owners, but like the clientele as well.
Absolutely. I do think there's like some things that were coached in us for all of us probably early on in our career, like forcing people to like book that appointment before they leave. And as we all know, that's a very difficult thing to do now. Like people are very different, but I get that reminder to book email. And sure enough,
it's like shifted my mindset. I actually don't like pushing pre-booking because I think it always ends up more likely to cancel or reschedule rather than working out. So I'm like, if you need to schedule in your own time, like online booking is easy enough that you can go and do that. We don't need to push the pre-book.
And one thing I do want to touch, we talked about it a little bit as well, like, again, going back to the consultation, like we sat down with like Leslie from PBA and we talked about things like even the Cut It Out program, right? Like there is no way any type of AI or automation can like call out like, hey, I think something's going on with my client. Like I need to support them in some way, somehow, So yeah, I think AI can definitely help us. Automation is already helping us, but remembering that like it really can't come for the meat and potatoes, like the heart of like what we're doing.
It won't have the empathy, like that emotional aspect of it.
It really can't come for us.
No. I like that. AI, you're not coming for us today.
Not today, honey.
We still love you, AI.
Yes.
Don't come out of us.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's here. No. But any final thoughts?
I think it's exciting.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's very exciting. I think it's going to open up a lot of revenue for our providers and our business owners. Like as things advance, I would love to see like some form of the ability to like highlight potential upsell opportunities to like help providers say like, oh, this person's like, done highlighting treatments for, half of a year, but hasn't had a, deep conditioning treatment or something like that, or maybe recommend them this, it complements this well. So I think there will be a lot of advancements that help our businesses grow and providers make more money and clients get better results.
Yeah, I agree. I see the potential. I see the potential of where AI can go. I see the potential of where we could use it in so many different aspects of this industry. So just personally, I'm really excited to see where it goes, hoping it doesn't go too far in any kind of way. But yeah, I can see a lot of growth and like, making just everyone's lives easier.
I would say, I think like if people are going to use the tools that are currently available out there, just remember to use them thoughtfully. Like, if you're going to use ChatGPT, prompt well, think about it, like double check it. Don't just copy paste the entire response and put it into your email where it says, do you need anything else at the end of it? I'm sure we've all seen people do that. So just, be mindful about it and don't use it for everything. It's not the savior.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think, I shared with the group, I don't know if you heard me say this earlier, but they've, had some new releases, like Gemini's had some new releases where there are full on like news reporter looking AI
I've
people like
seen
giving news
that.
reports. So I would love to see, especially around like social media, just as we have to say like, hey, this is paid promotion. We got to say this is AI.
Mhm.
Start being really like upfront about like where we are actually using AI so we can hold everyone accountable. I think that's where it becomes a little dicey with what's out there. So be
Agreed.
cautious, y'all. I think there's going to be, a lot of folks that get confused about what the news headline is because it's AI generated and whatnot. So hopefully we'll get some more guardrails in so we could do this thoughtfully to Daniel's point. But yeah, thanks everyone. This was an awesome talk.
Thanks
More
so
to come.
much. More
To
to
be
come.
continued on AI. Are you a beauty pro who loves what you do, but not the admin part? Boulevard's got you. From seamless online bookings to streamlined workflows and built-in revenue boosters, Boulevard is the easy-to-use platform that works as beautifully as you do. For tuning into today's podcast, you can save 10% and get free guided setup. Head to joinblvd.com/podcast to learn more and get started today.